Former Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman fought for his country in Iraq and received a Purple Heart. He fought for his country again when he testified under subpoena during Trump's first impeachment hearing, when Trump was caught red-handed in a quid pro quo arrangement for giving military assistance to Ukraine in exchange for dirt on Hunter Biden. And despite the retaliation that followed, Vindman is still fighting for his country by sending a letter to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin that has blistering consequences for the right-wing media echo chamber and their constant attack on the truth. We're going to get into the contents of that letter and its implications because it is an incredible case study of how the mainstream media is controlled by the right and never has to answer to the left. But the roots of that case study are deeply embedded in Alexander Vindman's career. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman served in the Trump White House, which was more of a clown house, really, but Vindman served as part of the National Security Council staff and was a direct witness to the perfect phone call in which Trump asked President Zelensky directly for dirt on Hunter Biden and Burisma. As a result, when the phone call came to light and Congress investigated with impeachment hearings, Vindman was called to testify. Even during the impeachment hearing, the Republicans started a dirty campaign against Vindman. Take a look at Devin Nunes disrespecting Vindman.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Now, sure, you can make a case that Nunes wasn't intending disrespect, that Nunes, famous for being as dim-witted as Trump, simply didn't know he should address a member of the military, serving in an official capacity at an official government proceeding by his military title. It's definitely within the realm of possibility that Nunes is that flat-out ignorant. But the incident was not isolated. Take a look at the far more clever and subtle follow-up by congressional Republicans that continues the attack on Vindman.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, I see you're wearing your dress uniform. Knowing that's not the uniform of the day, you normally wear a suit to the White House. I think it's a great reminder of your military service. Very quickly, I'm curious, when Ranking Member Nunes referred to you as Mr. Vindman, you quickly corrected him and wanted to be called Lieutenant Colonel Vindman. Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
Oh, and how nice. Trying to show that Vindman is some sort of inconsistent and quasi-military man. And here's where the mainstream media comes into play. Vindman and his twin brother, who was also serving at the White House, was fired for this testimony. It was clear and obvious retaliation, which is against the law. But what did the media do? Next to nothing. Watch this clip of the media trying to press Trump over the matter.
Mr. President, would you like to see Alexander Vindman out of your White House?
Well, I'm not happy with him. You think I'm supposed to be happy with him? I'm not.
And this is classic Trump, saying the quiet part out loud and getting away with it. Trump is actually contradicting his own national security advisor, Robert C. O'Brien, who said that it was his decision to transfer both Vindman and his brother back to the Army for reassignment, and then denied that the move was ordered by Trump in retaliation for Vindman's testimony. I can absolutely tell you that they were not retaliated against, O'Brien told a panel. O'Brien also disputed the move as being characterized as fired, since both brothers remained on active duty. O'Brien noted that their transfer was part of a larger NSA staff reduction. Yet his remarks contradicted Trump, who tweeted that he had ousted Vindman for insubordination and for doing a lot of bad things. And here is how the mainstream media followed up. It was classic mainstream media. Let Trump be Trump and just let people get tired of the chaos. It's not their responsibility to go after the commandant and thief. And by now, it's just a cliche. But can you imagine if Biden or any other Democratic president fired a White House employee, especially a lieutenant colonel, for testifying against the president? There would be a torrent of coverage. It would be a media apocalypse. The mainstream media, so desperate to show that they are fair, would mercilessly pursue every member of the administration and work to bring about the downfall of that administration. But with Trump and the right wing in general, it's always, at most, one question and then off we go to the next topic. So Vindman was not only fired from the White House, but was so retaliated against after reassignment that he had to resign from the military. But as I said earlier, he is still fighting for his adopted country. After a Fox News chyron called President Biden a wannabe dictator, Alex Vindman wrote a letter to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and demanded that Fox News be removed from American Forces Network, which provides popular TV and radio programs, including Fox News, to American troops on military bases and overseas assignments. Vindman wrote, "It is absolutely unacceptable for American Forces Network to carry programming that directly, spuriously attacks the Commander-in-Chief of American Armed Forces. What are you going to do about this, Defense Secretary Austin? And the fact of the matter is, why should American taxpayer money be spent providing content from a media company who has had to settle court claims for defamation and defrauding the public with lies? And now that same network, Fox News, attacks the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces? There is no obligation to carry any network's programming on American Forces Network. There is no fairness doctrine in place. Hey, thanks for that, Reagan administration. And Vindman is not alone in his demand. D. Earl Stevens, the retired managing editor of Stars and Stripes newspaper, called Fox News' latest actions dangerous, writing, "It is imperative for our troops to get their news from good, reputable sources. Alleging that their commander-in-chief is a wannabe dictator is dangerous." Of course, if Secretary Austin were to remove Fox News from American Forces Network, there would be a right-wing outcry. But so what? Let the Republicans scream and shout. Let them hold committee hearings and demand Secretary Austin testify. They would just create a platform by which to expose Fox News and its lies even more. Democrats never play this kind of chess game because they live by the fear that we don't want to encourage the other side to do it when they come to power. But guess what? They already do. Allowing a network to spread their lies to our military is more than just unfair. It's plain stupid. Tell Fox News if they would ever like to engage in journalism, we would be happy to carry them on American Forces Network. But until then, they're out. This is exactly the kind of step-by-step building up of a foundation that Democrats rarely, if ever, engage in. The long-term strategies that matter, but Democrats shy away from. It's also the kind of bold action that Democrats are always hesitant to take for fear of the right-wing media backlash. And then they wonder why Republicans have a much easier time projecting an image of strength. Well, except for maybe Josh Hawley. It's time to stand up and take action, Secretary Austin, and time for the people on the ground, like us, to do the same. It's worth an email campaign to our representatives in Congress to demand Secretary Austin drop Fox News from American Forces Network. They can still have The Simpsons. It's time for us to ask Congress people with military backgrounds, like Senator Tammy Duckworth from Illinois and Congressman Seth Moulton from Massachusetts, to lead the charge here. And sure, the Bears are lousy and the Packers are superior in every way. But Senator Duckworth is still a leader and she's former military. So, ignoring the fact for the moment that there's a rash of senators from the Midwest named Tammy, this is one of those times when you can do more than just listen to what a bunch of immoral schmucks are doing. It's one of those times where you can take action too, to fight back and fight for the kind of fair and honest society we want to live in. In the comments section here, list any other former military who are now serving in Congress. Send an email to your representative and to the others that get listed here. Post that on Facebook and send emails to your friends to do the same right after I sign off, which is now. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.